tena unaendelea kutazama Citizen Townhall ambapo hii leo tunazungumzia masuala ya uhusiano kati ya polisi na wananchi. David Neto katika mtandao wa Twitter anasema my first encounter with the police back then in 2017 coincidentally when I just did my KCSE and it was incredible. He did a story with me about his job, both the good and bad side of his career, and advised me how to fit into society. Gunches 254 anasema a police officer once arrested me while waiting to board a matatu back home. I tried to ask him why he was arresting me, and the next thing I remember was a slap on my cheek. I thought it was my right to know why I was being arrested. Kiama, tuanze na wewe. Huyu Gunches alikuwa na haki ya kuuliza kwa nini huyu polisi anataka kumkamata.
Ndio, mwananchi yeyote ako na haki ya kuuliza ofisa wa polisi sababu ya kukamatwa ama sababu ya kusimamishwa. Kwa sababu katika hali ya kukamatwa na ofisa wa polisi, kwanza unasimamishwa. Stop, search, arrest, detain is a process.
Is there identify? Should the police pull out a card and say this is me, police so and so, police constable so and so, or something like that?
You see, our country is a civilized country. We are living in a democracy where asking a question should not be criminalized. You have a right to know. You have a right to information. We have access to information, laws that are in place that we have given to ourselves. And within the procedure of police work, the officer who is stopping you is supposed to identify themselves. Is actually supposed to be wearing their service number so that you can know whether this is a criminal or a police officer arresting you or stopping you. So that then when you obey the orders, you know you're obeying the orders, of an officer mandated to use particular powers to stop you. And that you know that you are safe by being stopped by a police officer. So asking the officer why you've been arrested, you should not even ask in the first place. The officer is supposed to inform you, I have stopped you, I'm arresting you for this particular offense.
Tabitha, tell me this, and I want to bring into this conversation. If we are to buy into the argument of the police spokesperson that effectively the police service has become a safe haven for unemployed youth across the country, that tells me that we have a short-term problem and a long-term problem as well. What is going to happen? What is the future of the police service if really the only place now where a young person who cannot get a job anywhere else will get it in the police service? What will be their immediate impact because they're just looking to make money? What is the long-term impact? I think we have room to be worried.
Yes, we do. First of all, I think the issue that he raised, that the reason why we have all these issues is because there's a lot of unemployed people that now go join the police force. And I think my problem with that way of thinking is if there's a lot of people that are looking for jobs, then that means the police has an opportunity to pick the very best because there's a lot of young people looking for jobs. And so I think the excuse that it is only people who have failed that end up getting into the police force is something that we should not even be talking about when there's such a huge number of young people with good qualifications that have not been able to get jobs. And then on the issue of the short-term problems that we're going to face, first of all, we will see a lot of human rights violations. We will see a lot of people losing their lives when they don't have to. We're going to see a rise in the crime rate in the country, and that could eventually have a lot of negative implications in terms of our security, both internally and even our image as a country out there. In the long term, we're going to see a society that loses total faith in the law enforcement officers, and it might get to a point where we no longer look up to them for security, but we then see them as enemies of our development and of our society. So I think it is important that the police work very hard to build better relations with the communities, and even we as communities support them by providing all these positive stories like the one that has been shared about the police who told this young person about the opportunities that come with his job, the challenges that he faces in his job, so that Kenyans understand exactly what Charles Owino has said, that the police are just part of our society. They are not separate from us. Of course, they have more responsibilities than we do because they've gone through extra training and they have been given a mandate to provide policing for all of us. But then if we don't get to a position where we have good relations with them, then we will end up going in the wrong direction. And I think we've worked so hard as a country to be where we are at. We should be working together with the police to be able to live in a country that reflects the aspirations that we have of the constitution that we have.
As a people.
Yes.
Okay, Charles, I know you want to come in, but let's get can we get one or two questions, then I give Charles ample time to respond.
Wacha nianze na Sylvester Sergon ambaye ni mwanafunzi, manake huwa tunaona wakati ambapo wanafunzi wana maandamano ama kuna mambo ambayo wanalalamikia, unapata kuwa kuna mambo ambayo yanatokea hayafurahishi. Sylvester.
Yes. Shida ambayo iko kwa wanafunzi ni saa zile kuna rioting, not even rioting, protests. When they are protesting which is actually their right, wanaenda wanaandika barua kwa polisi kwamba wata demonstrate hivi na hivi. Unapata ya kwamba polisi badala ya waende washike wale ambao wanaenda protesting, sasa it's like when they miss the students who are protesting, they go for those who are inside their halls of residence. Wanaenda huko hostels, wanaenda wanavunja milango, wanaenda library, wanatoa watu huko, wanawapiga, they frog march them. Na baadaye unapata IPOA wanakuja wana document these cases, but nothing is done. I don't know if IPOA do you control IPOA ama ni nini, kwa sababu tunashindwa. IPOA inafika ina document case from 2015, 2016 hadi saizi bado. Yeah, so
that's your question. And just to let our audience know, we had invited IPOA for this discussion, but they informed us that they will be out of town and they cannot attend, but we had invited them for that. Do you have another question or we get?
Kuna swali lingine hapa kutoka kwa Moses Okinyi, swala ambalo linajitokeza mara kwa mara wakati ambapo kuna labda tandabelua baada ya uchaguzi. Unapata kwa wale ambao wanaathirika zaidi ni wale ambao wanaishi kwenye vitongoji duni.
Okay, thank you very much. My question about jina langu ni Moses Okinyi. I work with the International Commission of Jurists. And my question is about criminalization of poverty. Because it's easier for me to get shot in Kibera, like the late Carlington Maina, and our mom here also lost her son. It's easier for me to get shot in Kibera, however bright I might be, than in Karen, for example. We have seen criminals being arrested in Kileleshwa with fake guns, with fake dollars, but nobody is shot. And then another issue of criminalization of petty offenses is like drunkard disorderly, for example. It has become a cash cow for the police, and they target only the poor areas. You'll never see somebody being arrested for drunkard disorderly in Karen. You will never see somebody like somebody on Twitter just mentioned about being arrested while trying to board a matatu. It's easier for me to get arrested in Kibera for loitering, but in Karen, I'll be taking a walk. You understand? So why is it that the police target the poor? Why have they made the poor a cash cow? Thank you.
Let me allow a spokesperson to respond, and one of the other panelists as well. I think you have about three questions that you need to respond to. I don't know which one you want to begin with.
Before I respond, I want to make a clarification on what I said about most of the people lacking jobs and coming to police as the only alternative. As we recruit, you will get a person with very good qualifications and what it takes, but you may not know the intention of the person why he's joining the service. Until when he comes in and you see how he behaves, then you'll get to know whether he's a person who was interested in joining the service or not. But the truth of the matter is that when many people join just because they are looking for a job, when they come in and they find it is so tough, it becomes a problem. I want to start with the issue of demonstrations. I would want students to get more educated and read, especially regulations when it comes to demonstrations. And the Constitution is written very simple language. There's no jargon. It's easy for everybody to understand. And the Constitution says clearly, I think that should be Article 37, that every person has a right to demonstrate, to picket, to present a petition, to assemble peacefully and unarmed. You must underline the word peacefully and unarmed. Equally, the Bill of Rights, which is chapter 4 of this Constitution, because now you are somebody who has gone to school, we can speak at the same level, provides that as you, the provision for rights has limits, and it provides that when you enjoy your rights and fundamental freedoms, you do not prejudice the rights and freedoms of others. You have a right to visit a loo, but you can't have it here. So when you go about throwing stones and breaking windscreens, a windscreen of a person who is driving along Uhuru Highway, that is unacceptable.
I think...
So
yes.
First of all, it is important for a student to appreciate what the law provides for, so that you don't get into confrontation.
And I think you've outlined that clearly. His concern is for those who are not involved in the protests.
Is
that where you're getting to?
Yes, I would not be sure about that.
How do the police determine who was involved in it? Is it that you catch them in the act?
You see, Maura, that would be a very complex question for me. Because unless we are involved in a practical lesson, I would not be able to say this is what has happened. And that is why we have oversight authorities to look into some of these things when they happen. And he talked about IPOA, and I told him IPOA is an independent civilian, not police. It's an independent civilian oversight authority. And the chair of IPOA is a person who is qualified to be a judge of a high court. He's an advocate of high court. And there are many other persons with various... So I hope next time when you get an opportunity... I don't speak for IPOA because they are supposed to oversight on us. But I would humbly request that let students understand their role and let students not misbehave in what they do, and then later... Because police has a right to protect everyone, including that person you are breaking his windscreen, or that person you are going to loot his shop. He talked about criminalization of...
poverty.
What you are saying is quite academic. It may not be...
he does not agree with you. Is he nodding?
Yes, he will not agree with me because he has never lived in Kibera. He has never lived in Mathare. I have. So he may not agree with me. But what I'm saying is that we must also become very practical on what happens in slum areas. Every day we collect bodies of persons stabbed and killed. If any of you live there, you can be able to tell us. We have record. Kema may not have that record. And when an individual is killed by a criminal, many a times there is nobody to talk on those individuals who have been killed by criminals. For a very long time, women who have been going to market very early in the morning. Because I also want next time, Kapombe, when you are bringing people here, also bring people who have been helped by police.
They're actually here. They'll speak once you're done.
Please also bring persons that police have saved, because what you must understand is you give police such a bad image that even a small child, you tell a small child, I'll call police when you cry. And you see, you socialize people negatively against police. But she said they're here and we're coming to them as well. Fine, it will be good. So you hear socialize people negatively about police. But I can tell you, without police, and that is why I say for specific cases, because there is no law that stops a bishop from giving birth to a criminal. You cannot say, why is your father a bishop and you are a criminal? So even for us police, yes, we carry the tag of being policemen. But I still argue, we have some of us who may commit crimes. But we must also appreciate the majority of the policemen who ensure that you are safe. And I always tell people, even in Nairobi, just take 1 minute when there is rainfall, and therefore policemen are not in the roundabout, and you see the kind of mess we have. First of all, let us appreciate the police. Yes. And it will only be bad if a policeman commits a crime. For example, we had the policeman who committed a crime in Isili. They had gone to steal from from particular individuals. But interestingly, the person who arrested them were not civilians. They were policemen who were in patrol. They only discovered these were policemen after they had arrested them. That means that as some were stealing, majority were working. So it is important that we appreciate the police and ensure that the police attracts the best from the society.
Thank you so much for that, Mashirima.
Wacha nikutulize kidogo na ujumbe wa Rachel Ogola. Anasema, I was driving from Busia to Kisumu when my car stalled somewhere near Yala. I tried stopping other motorists to help with jump-starting my car. Guess what? Over 15 motorists just drove off. Guess who stopped to help? Police officers. Rachel Ogola yeye ana taarifa nzuri ama kisa chake kilikuwa kizuri na maafisa. Lakini wale ambao wako hapa, visa vyao tofauti kabisa, utawasikiza bwana Wino, manake watakuwa wako hapa, watakueleza tukirejea baada ya mapumziko.